Yep, I think we are live.
All right.
Are we live?
I'm just checking now.
Okay, so let's make it happen Monday.
Hello, everyone. I think,
Yes, we are live. So let's make it happen Monday. I think we were talking about um, getting our amazing friend and a broker on board
yeah.
last week,
Mhm.
which we didn't.
It was a crazy week.
But nevertheless, everybody, we did get Shamir with us, and he will be talking all fun things about real estate and finance. So let me just get him on board.
Right.
Shamir,
Hi, how are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Not bad.
all right.
Long
Thank you
day?
so much for getting me on the show.
No stress.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
It was long due. We were actually telling everybody last week, I mean the week before, that we're gonna get you on board last week,
Pure.
but man, it just went crazy, crazy, crazy.
No, it's been a crazy week also. Past week.
It's been. How's everything with you, Shamir? I
You know,
know, but
good.
still.
Getting busy, which is good. With the pauses in the interest rate, which is till now, fingers crossed, right? So it's getting
Yeah.
busy. People are getting off the fixed rates. A lot
Yeah.
of movement in the market. We're getting some better competitive home loan rates. And
Yeah,
a
that's
lot
good.
of people.
And you said that it's getting busier because we had a pause in the interest rate rises. But
Well,
but
yeah,
I was looking at the news yesterday, and they were saying, look, don't be so happy. There might be more interest rate rises in the
that's what
future,
I
maybe
said. Fingers
2020.
crossed. That's what I said. Fingers crossed. Right. So, right. So, fingers crossed. It's just more of those the clients that they fixed their rates 2 years back, which are all coming out of the fixed rates now.
Oh my
Yeah.
Right.
God, I
Yeah.
So the
know.
fixed rates are expiring. We were so used to the 2%, 2.5% interest rate. Now, when the fixed rate expires, you go down to almost 6%. So it gets a bit daunting. Getting there and
Yeah.
making sure.
Look, it's daunting for first-time buyers, but what about investors?
See, the rates are high compared to what it was, a year or so back, right? But I've seen a lot of movement in the investment property market also, right? People are still buying, right? They
A
are,
lot.
yes, there have been some limitations from the bank. The borrowing capacity has been affected, right, a little bit, but then they are they're still doing it, right? So that means because with interest rates lower, I think it's a good time also to invest now, right? With the property market, I'm sure you are sure that property market also is a bit stable, isn't it, for now?
It definitely is. It definitely is. Look, a lot of people, the confidence has gone back, and people are coming out to buy now. Like the start of this year, mid of this quarter one or quarter two, quarter three. Let's put it this way: people were scared. Every person that we were talking to, they were like, "Look, I want to buy, I want to invest, but not now." But at the same time, these were the people who were, let's say, owner occupiers buying primary residence, or they were first time investors. Those were the only people who were scared. Savvy investors
Yes.
were still buying like anything.
They were still buying, yes. I guess with first home buyers and first time investors, they were on the wait game. They were like, let's wait for another 1 month and see what
Yeah.
happens, right? And I had a lot of clients, and I said, see, this is the right time. Don't wait. The more you wait, the more you miss out the opportunity, right? So
Yeah.
it's
Exactly.
How
jump
many
into
how
it
many
now.
people how many
Uh,
people came to you? How many buyers came to you with who had a certain amount of serviceability, and after one interest rate rise or the
yes.
second one, their serviceability dropped considerably.
Yes, 100%, and it drops, right? Now, if the interest rate goes up high next month again, right? The interest rate, so
I hope not.
your yeah, let's hope not, fingers crossed, right? But if it does, then your borrowing capacity drops, yes, right? Now there are certain banks who've reduced their assessment buffer, right? So which is a good thing. At
Mhm.
least we've got rooms, right? So if we don't have the option of the major banks, we've got the second tier lenders who look into it more favorably when it comes
Yeah.
to investment, uh, lending and flexibility of the investment property and all the stuff.
Now, when you say all of this, Shami, it just, how we have emphasized from the start, having a broker, having someone to strategize your whole plan, to tell you all of this is so important
Of
because
course.
what we always tell people, this is the first step of even when you're starting to think about investing or
Yes.
starting to, even if you're down the line 6 months, but you
Of course.
need these strategies in place from day one. I
Yes.
mean, let's talk about a little bit on those
See,
strategies.
I agree, right? Because when you come to a broker, the broker's got more lending options for you, right?
Yeah.
We've got more, more lenders in the panel compared to when you walk into one of the bank's branch, right? So when you walk into a branch of a bank, you've got one product, right? Now, whether that product suits your future requirements, your and everything, you're limited to that, right? But
Yeah.
when you
I mean,
come
and they don't
to
care.
yeah. When you come to me as a broker, as an investment specialist, I look at your strategy, right? And I don't work on a short-term plan. We sit down and we talk for a long-term plan, right? What do
Yeah.
you want? What do you guys want to do, right? And then making sure that you're there in the conversation, so we know exactly where the client wants to be in the next 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very
You
true.
know,
Yeah.
and how serious they are about paying off their home loan as quickly as possible,
Yeah. It's
right?
it's all
And
about
then
that long-term plan.
yes, it's all
Which
about that. It's all about the
unfortunately a
right,
lot of people do today.
Yeah.
right, all about strategy, right? uh you
Mm-hmm.
know I've seen clients come to me with three or four, three investment loans and one owner occupied loan, and then all investment loans are principal and interest. The home loan is sitting at above 800,000, right? So it's all about that strategy. You got to talk about, you got to free up your cash flow, right? You're
Yeah.
going to find a way, because keeping in mind paying off your home loan needs to be priority because that's a non-tax deductible debt, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we need to make that as a priority and then move around, strategize, find the right. It's not only finding the right bank, but it's all about finding the right product, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the features of that product, do that product meet your requirement and objectives?
And how it shouldn't cap your investments, or your loans shouldn't be capped.
The
The
serviceability. Yeah.
serviceability shouldn't be capped. It's
Yes.
all about.
That's what we were talking about the other day as well. The biggest problem that investors face right now is that their serviceability gets capped after, let's say, not even after five, six properties. They get capped after, let's say, two investment properties, and they don't know
Yeah.
what to do.
See, again, strategies, right? It's all about talking to a mortgage broker, right? Yes,
Yeah.
one
100%.
lender would have that cap, right? And one lender would not have that cap. So you can't put all your eggs in one basket. It's just like you can't have all your loads with one lender, right?
Oh
So
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you got to
definitely.
diversify, right? So if you stay with one lender, yes, you're going to cap at certain point, right? But
Yeah.
if you diversify, if you talk to a mortgage broker, then we can find you that strategy, that solution that works for the investor, right?
Yeah.
Saying
100%.
if
Yeah, yeah, and then there's one more thing that I always talk about is, if tell me if I'm right or wrong, that is cash flow. You did talk about that as well. Cash
yes.
flow. Bank or a lender does not look at your cash, but they look at your cash flow.
Yes. Right. Yeah. So cash, you can have 200,000 sitting or $1 million sitting in your savings, right? But that would not impact your serviceability, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just having that money, yes, we can again comes down to strategy, right? If you've got a $500,000 cash sitting there, and you've got a home loan of say 250,000 there, right? It comes down to your strategy, your long-term plans. You're better off paying off your home loan, get rid of that debt, right? Because it's a non-tax deductible debt, and that cash that you're sitting in the savings is
Yeah,
just sitting there, right?
Yeah.
So you're betting off freeing that equity and using that equity, that property to build your investment portfolio.
Yeah.
Yep, that makes sense.
That makes sense, actually. I
The,
always thought, that if you have cash, then you're good to go. I mean, if somebody
No,
was
see,
coming to me
it's
yeah, I
for,
mean, if you have cash, then you're good
see,
to go
it's
to Bali.
yeah. Now, see, the cash, having cash strengthens it gives you a good strength of the portfolio, right? The lenders look at it more, you know, leniently. They say, yes, the client has got a good savings, they've got a good pattern of savings, right? But when it
Mhm.
comes to assessments and serviceability, it has a lower impact on it, right? Because what the banks wants to see is what your incoming is and what your outgoing is, right?
Yes.
And then the banks have their own assessment buffer. So you need to service on that assessment buffer, right? So that, yes, the interest rate is, say, 6.5% right now, but then the banks would assess it on a higher assessment buffer. So if something
Yeah.
goes wrong, if the interest rate goes crazy high in the future, right? And can the
Mhm.
client still service that loan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
True.
having cash, it's yes, it's there, it helps your portfolio, right? But again, using that cash wisely is most important, right? How you use that
definitely. And that buffer that you were talking about, I've heard that the banks were looking at a safe buffer of 3% before for the
yes.
interest rate. So they were assessing at 3%, but now there are some lenders or that are assessing you at 1% buffer.
So yeah, they've come down to 2%, and they're reducing it, right? But then they're looking at second tier lenders, and there's one or two majors that they're looking at it, right? It gives you the flexibility. That means you can go and borrow more money now
That's it,
compared to
100%.
what
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was 6 months back,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Mm,
I have a lot of clients who come and say we want the sharpest rate, and it's like, again, it's not about the best interest rate; it's about what your long term goals is, right?
yeah.
Yeah, no,
Again, you don't want to,
100%. A lot of people do this mistake. They're like, look, we go to the broker because they're gonna get us the cheapest interest rate or the product with the cheapest rate. I'm like, look, that's not why you go to a broker.
you go for a
Like
strategy.
last live, yeah, in last live we were talking about the
I
client.
thought you said last life.
No, no, live. We were talking about how a client came to you and he was only ready for SMSF, but after you did all that strategy and everything, now he's able to buy two properties.
Yes,
So it's all about and a lot of people are not really aware of coming to SMSF. You know,
yes, they're not.
it's something so good. I mean, that money is just lying there, and you can use that. You know.
Yes, right. Yeah. So anyone with a good, super healthy, super balanced, right? I think
Mhm.
they need to see their financial planners, right?
Yeah.
And get that advice. It's
Mhm.
it's
Definitely,
important, right?
100%.
And it's good to get that advice and see what the opportunities are there, right? Obviously, we can't, and if they've got the options there, then why not?
Yeah.
100%. Because we can't give any financial advisors. We are not financial
No,
advisors.
no,
Yeah.
Yeah,
no
we
financial
are not.
advisors at all.
Don't take anything as a financial advice, please.
No, right. So we
We
should we should
respect
write we
them.
should have the disclaimer: do not try this when you're below 18, right? These stunts are done by professionals, right? Right. So
Yeah,
you should have the
every
disclaimer
time
at
you
the
start
bottom, right?
something, please just write it down. Disclaimer:
Yeah.
we don't give financial advice. Please talk to a professional.
Yes, right. Right.
If you need a
Normally,
mortgage advice, then talk to Shamir.
yes. Right. So I'm always here. Anyone can book me in, right? I don't. I do free health checkups, right? There's no fee. There's nothing, right? And we
Free
can get it done.
financial health checkup. Don't
So
laugh.
Yeah. Financial.
it's been a long day.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You thought you're doing. I don't know. I'm not a GP, right? That could be one of the right. Financial
I
health
thought
checks,
time for another disclaimer.
right? For another disclaimer. But yeah, right. So anyone can just give me a call, right? And we can book it in, right? And go through
Yeah.
the
100%.
plan, what they want to achieve in the long term.
And especially for everybody who's watching or who's gonna watch later, because apparently a lot of people watch later. They don't watch our
Yes.
lives when it's live. So for everybody who's watching now and who's gonna watch later, Shamir is an investment specialist.
Yes.
So if you're looking to build your investment portfolio and you need to structure your finances or your loans for long term,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, for long term, not for short term, for long term, because real estate is long term.
Yeah.
He's the guy.
Yeah. And I mean,
Okay.
Shamir has been helping us in a lot of NDIS loans.
Oh
I mean,
yes.
NDIS is the new rising. It's been there in the market for a while, but now
Yes,
suddenly again it's the rising star.
it
But
has
look,
picked
there's
up
one
its
thing,
pace.
Yeah.
Shamir would agree. The reason these types of niche properties are coming up in trend is because cash flow. Look, with the
Yes,
interest rate rise, a traditional property can't give you that
Mm.
cash flow that is required to sustain that longer portfolio. Yes, it can give you those tax benefits,
Yeah.
definitely 100%, and a lot of other benefits as well.
yeah,
But at the same time, if you're looking to increase your portfolio and to reduce your chances of quick, what do you call it, serviceability caps,
Yeah.
these types of properties come into play, whether it's NDIS, whether it's co-living, because they
Yes.
provide you higher rental yields and which can help you in the start uh, to buffer to get your uh, portfolio ahead. Let's put it this
Yes.
way.
of course,
Yes.
agree.
True
And
that.
if you look like till last year when the interest rates were low,
Mm.
NDIS was not a big thing, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Because everyone was positively, cash flowed. Everyone, was getting positive cash
Yeah.
flow, right? Because the interest
Yeah.
rates were low. But now, as the rates have risen, right? The NDI has picked up, and I think you agree that you're getting more inquiries based because of the higher rental yield, right?
oh,
Yes.
And
definitely.
again, and then even with saying that, yes, you've got a higher rental yield, but again, there has to be a strategy in place of how to utilize that higher rental yield, right? How to make the
Definitely.
best out of it, right?
Because at
Definitely.
the
you know
same time, you don't want to pay more taxes just because you're getting high rental yields and high income and positive
Yeah.
cash flow. So that is
yeah,
another
right.
thing which a lot of people miss,
And I
don't know
mean,
about. Yeah.
and I mean, it
Yeah,
depends.
or you don't want to
That
go
that
buy a you don't want to go buy a Harley Davidson just with that extra cash sitting there.
Yeah, we actually had a client the other day, and they were like, look, if we get that much cash or that much cash flow, let's put it this way, that means me and my whole family can go on a trip every year, a big trip. I was like, I think you shouldn't buy NDIs.
now, but it depends. It depends whether your portfolio at this time needs a positive cash flow, positive geared,
Or
or
a
a
negative,
negative property.
definitely,
I mean, it
100%.
it that's where strategies come in place. I
Of
mean,
course,
it's
right?
easier said than done. That okay, I just need a positive cash flow property, but you might just need a positive geared property at this point in your portfolio.
Because
It's
it all
filling down
depends
to
what your long term. Yeah, Shamir, tell me if you agree. So it all depends on the on your long term strategy and
yes.
where are you in your portfolio building phase.
Of course, it does, right? I agree with that, right? As Anna said, that yes, some people might come back and say, we want a higher rental yield, right? But
Yeah.
then that, again, you guys are the expert. You can sit down with them and say, that's not what you need right now. You need something else. You need a higher, you know, uh, growth yield, basically,
Yeah.
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Because if the
Yeah.
plan is to build more properties, you need higher growth rather than a higher rental, right? Higher rental is going to help you, yes, at this stage, right? You're going to have
Mhm.
positive cash flow, but then what happens in 2 years time or in a 1 year's time, right?
Mm.
Now, and
Mm.
how that market and how that property grows is more important also, right? There are a lot
Mm.
of
Definitely.
variables attached to it, right? So it's just not
Mm.
as simple as ABC. There's a lot of variables, right? You take you take one end, the other end comes in place, right? So you have to, so like it's like puzzles. You have to make sure all those missing pieces are placed in to make sure you have the perfect scenario, right? Well, there's not a perfect scenario, but yes, ideal scenario.
I'm so sorry, Shamir. In the middle, you just got stuck. Technology problem.
Sorry, I don't even know. I lost my thoughts right. Yes, so I think coming coming back to that,
Yeah,
it's just about finding on what you want, what
definitely.
and
Yeah.
talking to professionals, talking to people like you guys in the real
Yeah.
estate is better to get a better understanding, to get a better feel of what's happening and what can you do.
Yep.
And I feel like there's no harm in once you start, if, whether you are a first home buyer, whether you are the first time investor, whether you are a are a investor who's been doing this for a while, having that team together, because I think in the last few years I've understood that when you have a team together who's guiding you, maybe it may be an accountant, it may be a financial advisor or a mortgage
Mortgage
broker
broker.
or consultants, not necessarily that means that you always have to you need to have 10, 12 properties in order to have that team,
No.
but that team can actually take you even with one or two properties in a way
Oh,
that
from day one,
from day one,
you need to have a team.
you need to have a team, you need to have reliable people, and these are the little things that will help you in the future.
Oh,
Great.
definitely, 100%,
Yeah.
100%. A good team always goes a long way. Shamin knows, and I
100%.
know.
Right? And I always tell my clients, right, that the day that you start the process with me, consider me your best friend for life,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, tell me everything and I'll tell you everything, right? So
Yeah,
it's consider
Yeah.
me your best friend and I will look out for you. And that's what we're supposed to do.
you
Make sure
you know just like you've said this, now I want to end this with you. A lot of people, I want to bring this up. I've been
yeah,
hearing this so often now. Shamir, you would agree.
yeah,
Once you ask someone, okay, let's assess you, let's do a little assessment. Okay, how much is your salary and everything, and or how much is your savings? People get offended and people get defensive. Why should I tell you why? So I mean, it's such a big myth. Like, I try and tell people, we're not going to come to your house and take that money from you.
yeah,
It's something we need to have that
yeah,
transparency
with the broker.
with the broker.
yeah.
Yeah.
If not with
See,
the consultant, at least have that with the broker.
yeah,
All right.
it's important, yeah. And I think it's more about, building the rapport and the trust with the clients, right? So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's even for us, someone randomly calls me and tells me, give me your financials, I'll go like, all right,
I know.
right?
I know.
But yeah,
Yeah.
right. But
You
then
have to
again,
build that rapport first.
but then
Yeah,
they
but
have to, yeah, but then again, to give a client the accurate numbers, right? We need to, for brokers, we need to look at your documents. We need to look at your
yeah,
pay slips and everything, right? Yes, you may, because, just to give an example, I've had a client last week. He works in aged care. He's making good money, right?
yeah,
But
yeah,
the thing is, in his term, he's making, say, 120,000 a year, but the banks look at
yeah,
it differently, right?
yeah,
Because
Yeah.
there's
yeah,
overtime, there's penalty rates and everything, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah,
those kind of things, right? So we need to look at those things, right? Yes, you're making that much money, but the banks look at it differently, right? So that's
Yeah.
yeah,
why you need a broker to assess that and tell you
yeah,
this is what your actual numbers are, right?
yeah. Yeah. So try forming that friendship with the broker. Trust me,
Yes.
And
he's
with us
really
as
good
well.
with us as well.
Best friends. So I
Yeah,
can
of course.
come at dinner at your place.
He's already hungry. All right, let's call
All
it
Right.
right.
off.
I think let's finish it off at this
Right,
note.
easy.
Thank you so much, Shami.
Now,
I
thank you
I
so
can
much,
talk.
guys.
I can talk for another 30 minutes if I want to,
Right.
but I think it's more than enough.
Yeah.
It's all good. Thank you so much for inviting me. Right. Best of luck, guys.
Thank,
Right.
thank you for coming,
And
Shamir.
all good. And
and
we'll
and we
talk.
would love to have you on live in the future as well.
Yeah,
This is
Just
not the
let me
last time
know.
you're coming.
I'm just a call away.
perfect.
Well,
All right. Okay.
all
Thank
right.
you,
Thank
guys.
you
Nice to
so
hear
much,
from you.
Thank you. Bye
Shamir.
bye.
Thanks,
Thank you
Shamir.
so much for coming.
Bye.
And
Bye.
everybody, we will talk to you next Monday.
Yes, I think it was a productive session.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, any advice from any professional who knows his thing and who's been doing it for a
Yeah.
while just makes a difference. Now, all the time he says it, but this time I'll say it. If you have any questions, even when you're watching this later on, write it down and
Comment.
comment. I mean, yeah,
Comment
comment
below.
below, and
Don't
we'll
be shy. Comment below.
I'm talking. They're not shy.
All right. Don't be shy. Comment below.
They'll comment, and we'll try to have Shamir interact on those messages and on those comments as well. We'll interact as well, and tell us what you want for next week, and then let us prepare for that. And
And I think this was fun. So I'm proposing one another thing.
Hmm. One another thing.
Another thing.
Okay.
One another thing.
Okay. Yes.
It's
What are
been
you
a long day.
proposing?
We can tell us in the comments your questions and tell us what um we'll bring on another professional on live.
Yeah, but you got to
Yes.
tell us
You
who.
gotta tell us who you want us to bring. We've got a mortgage broker, Shahmir, amazing guy, amazing. He knows what he does, helps investors. So if you're an investor and looking to strategize, starting out, talk to Shahmir.
Mhm.
But tell me, who do you want us to bring on our next live?
Yeah. Yeah.
In
Maybe.
the upcoming lives, not the next live, in the
Yeah.
upcoming lives.
Yeah. Not the next
Yeah,
one. It takes a while.
yeah, in the
Mhm.
upcoming lives. And we will make sure we get them on board. We'll throw Anna out and we'll get another one.
I like that idea. so that he doesn't eat my head. And we will come. I will come on live with you guys some other place.
Some other place?
Yeah, I mean, I'll interact if you're throwing me out of here for that meeting. Anyways,
Nah, I'm
anyways.
joking. All right, guys. See you next week. Make it happen Monday. Have a
Bye,
great
guys.
week.
Have a great week.